what is happening? Story time real quick. Does anybody remember this movie that came out last year? Well, that film was one of the biggest bombs of 2018, and for the longest time I thought it was directed by Peter Jackson.
This weapon can wipe out the largest city.
Honestly, I thought Jackson directed it until I saw the credit at the end of the movie for the director. I know, not my best moment. The marketing was so misleading for this movie though, and that's a slap in the face to the audience. I haven't seen Peter Jackson in about 4 years, and I was like, where is he, what's he doing after the Hobbit films? And then I thought Mortal Legends was the movie he was making, but it wasn't. So then I was like, well, where the did you go, Peter? It Shall Never Grow Old is Jackson's most recent film as a director, and this time he stepped away from mystical stories and tackles documentaries. Documentary? Really? I'm kind of bad when it comes to documentaries. I'd rather watch a fictional movie based on real life events with all those good old Hollywood traits. I've seen your basic documentaries like Won't You Be My Neighbor? Fuck you, Oscars! March of the Penguins? And Super Size Me. Because who didn't watch that in health class in high school and middle school? So sadly, it's hard to convince me to watch, let's say, the greatest documentary of all time, or a really trashy movie. But since this is what Jackson's been doing for the last 4 years, I had to watch it for myself. And let me tell you, I'm never gonna look at a history documentary the same again. The film, at its most basic, is about the men who fought in the trenches during World War I. Now, the first 20 or 30 minutes of this film is your bare bones History Channel style documentary. And then, all of a sudden, the footage begins to expand, the colors start fading in, sounds of footsteps and grunts can be heard, and the voices of soldiers begin to talk.
All right, boys, here it comes. We're in the pictures.
Have you ever experienced something in a film for the first time and been blown away? I could only imagine what people were thinking when they saw Toy Story, Avatar, or even Wizard of Oz. As a kid, I really didn't appreciate it as much because I was young and thought that was just the norm. That's how I felt during this movie. I had never seen anything like this before, and I was in shock for the remainder of the film. The entire film isn't narrated with some relaxing, familiar voice. Jackson and his team took over 600 hours of interviews from over 200 soldiers. I can't emphasize this enough. There is a scene in the documentary where they have this footage of an officer or general reading like a piece of paper. Obviously there's no sound in the footage, but they found this photo or the actual letter and they realized, hey, I think this is what this guy was saying. So they connected those two together. So when you're watching that scene in the documentary, you now know what he was reading to these troops, and it just brings that scene to life even more. It's amazing. His team took footage that was filmed in the 1910s and brought these men back to life. I felt like everything I was hearing, all the colors I was seeing were all there, and it was filmed with our technology today. Could you imagine what this technology is going to do for us in the future? It's groundbreaking. There I go again saying it. Peter Jackson did something groundbreaking for the film industry. Doing a World War I piece is a little interesting because media such as movies, TVs, video games don't really tend to look at that war. It has seemed for the longest time that the Civil War, Vietnam, or the big boy, World War II, were the most popular wars to have stories about. Now, yes, there are numerous World War I stories told throughout media, but I guarantee you can name 5 World War II movies before you can name 5 World War I movies. Yeah? 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 Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Oh. World War I is an interesting war, and it's nice that it's finally getting a lot more attention in the recent years with video games such as Battlefield 1, or movies like 1917, or hell, even Wonder Woman. The soldiers who fought in this war deserve just as much attention as these other soldiers in wars have gotten. Hopefully this trend will continue and we will get some beautiful works of art like this masterpiece. If you love documentaries, you've probably already seen this. If you haven't, definitely give it a chance. I highly recommend this film. It's such a powerful and personal journey because these men have been given a voice. That's it. We have finished Peter Jackson's filmography as of now, and if he does ever make another film, fingers crossed, I will definitely do a review of it. But for now, it's time to go look at this man's journey as a filmmaker. As always, guys, please hit that like button because it always helps us out. And if you haven't yet, join the evolution, and I'll see you next time.